Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. I am so glad that you are joining me today. Before we talk about today's worship service, let's sing a quick song to welcome everyone that has joined us. If you know it, sing along. If not, you can clap and dance. Here we go. Hello, everybody. How do you do? How do you do? How do you do? Hello, everybody. How do you do? God loves you today. Thank you for singing with me. And happy Easter! Remember, in the church, Easter is a holiday and a season. Today is the third Sunday of Easter. Each Sunday, I will leave up our Easter scene with the empty tomb, with the risen Jesus, and with all of these disciples. Because a lot of our readings in this season will have to do with these disciples, with risen Jesus, and with the early church. This season goes all the way to Pentecost, which is the church's birthday. We will hear 3 readings today. In each reading, I heard signs of Easter, of new life from God. I wonder what you will hear in these readings. Our first reading is from the book of Psalms. One translation of today's psalm says, "Many people say, 'We can't find goodness anywhere. The light of your face has left us, Lord.' But you have put gladness in my heart." Our second reading is from the book of 1 John, which is a letter. We will hear, "Dear friends, now we are God's children, and it hasn't yet appeared what we will be." I love knowing that every person is a child of God and that we will each keep growing and changing. Our third reading is from the Gospel of Luke. Remember, the 4 Gospels tell about Jesus' life and teachings. Today, we will hear about Jesus and some of his disciples or friends after Jesus has risen on Easter. Some of them aren't sure that Jesus is real, but Jesus tells them to look at him, to touch his hands. And then Jesus asks an important question. He asks, "Do you have anything to eat?" That's pretty important. I like thinking about how human Jesus was, like me, because I also get hungry. I also get angry and sad and happy, and Jesus knew all of that. If you want a project today, draw a picture of what you would serve at a meal with a hungry, newly risen Jesus. I might draw some blueberries, because those are my favorite. Our special story today is about a person. This person is named Valarie. Are you ready? This story about Valarie is from the book Holy Troublemakers and Unconventional Saints, which was written by Daneen Akers. Today's picture of Valarie was illustrated by Justine LeCouffe. It's recess time, and Valarie Kaur is playing in the schoolyard. She is pretending to be a baby, walking on her knees in the grass with her best friend and laughing. Suddenly, a boy appears. "Get up, you black dog," he says. Valarie's eyes well up with tears. Her family has lived in the Central Valley in California for a century, farming the land. She always felt like she belonged. Now, she was encountering hate for the first time. After school, Valarie jumps into her grandfather's arms and cries. Her grandfather, whom she calls Papa G, hugs her and tells her a story. 500 years ago, he says, a man named Nanak was saddened by the hate and violence he saw around him. Nanak lived in Punjab, what is now India and Pakistan. He disappeared by a river and meditated for 3 days and was struck with a vision of a symbol which is now known as Ankar, meaning we are one. I see no stranger, said Nanak. I see no enemy. Guru Nanak's followers were called Sikhs, students of truth. The Sikh faith is now the 5th largest organized religion in the world. Sikhs keep their hair long, and many wrap their long hair in turbans to show their commitment to love and justice. Their long hair and turbans are meant to stand out in a crowd so that you can come to them for help. Valarie's family is Sikh, but her classmates did not know anything about her faith. You must wonder about others, even when they refuse to wonder about you, says Papa G. You must choose to love them anyway and fight for them when they are in harm's way. That's what it means to be a warrior. Today, Valarie is an American civil rights activist, a lawyer, filmmaker, author, and organizer. She calls people to love each other and themselves through what she calls revolutionary love. It's love that stands up to protect everyone, especially those who are most at risk. Love calls us to stand up and protect anyone who is in harm's way. Black people, brown people, indigenous people, LGBTQ people, disabled people, women and girls, poor people, immigrants, and refugees, says Valarie. We are called to see one another as brothers and sisters and siblings, even those who hurt us. Starting with that little boy in her schoolyard, Valarie has learned that there is no such thing as monsters in this world, only human beings who are wounded. People who hurt us out of their insecurity or blindness or greed or suffering. So Valarie and her family forgive. But forgiveness is not forgetting, Valarie says. Forgiveness is freedom from hate. Once we are free from hate, we can work together to change the policies and cultures that drive our opponents to hurt us. The way we make change is just as important as the change we make, she says. And you can read more about her in this book. And actually, some of the adults in our church right now are reading a book written by Valarie. I like hearing what she has to say about forgiveness. About forgiveness not meaning forgetting, but being freedom from hate. What do you think forgiveness means? What does Jesus teach us about forgiveness? Where do you see this new life, these Easter ideas, when you think about Valarie and her message? To close today, will you sing Brave Enough with me? It talks about sharing love, about, like Valarie's grandfather said, being a warrior for love. Are you ready? We are brave enough to love. We are brave enough to show compassion. We are brave enough to listen and tell the truth. We are brave enough to love. We are brave enough to show compassion. We are brave enough to listen and tell the truth. We can be brave. We can be brave because we're filled with love from the bottom of God's heart. We can be brave. We can be brave. Thanks, friends, for being brave, for listening to those around you, and for sharing God's love. Have a wonderful Sunday. Goodbye.